I also know that you've been an entrepreneur in the past. You're passionate about solving certain problems.
Yeah,
You've tried to solve them as an entrepreneur. You have entrepreneurial ambitions for the future, and that
yeah.
was one of the reasons also to look at an MBA, having a long-term view of your career. If you have entrepreneurial ambitions, what should you expect from an MBA, and how should you go about shortlisting schools,
Hmm.
especially if you know that in the long term you want to be an entrepreneur?
Great question. Um, Firstly, I would want to talk a little bit about my experience about having worked on my own idea a few years back. This is during COVID, and just got an idea about solving a problem uh, with schools going digital. I just felt that it was unfair that all of us working in corporate could resume our working lives just by coming back home and working remotely, whereas schools were not able to do so. As soon as my friend and I got the idea and we started building on the product, we wanted to reach out to people who were expertise in this area, reach out to people who could fund us in this area, so on and so forth. And this reaching out process, very frankly, I at that point of time I did not realize, but then it was very easy for, no, I wouldn't say very easy, but it was fairly easy for my co-founder and I to just reach out to people and talk to them. This was the result of the network that we had gained from our college. And this was one guiding principle for me that would help through an MBA. Life just became easier because my friend and I graduated from IIT Madras, and there were so many people around us who went into different branches, into VCs, into edtech focused areas, that it was easier for us to reach out to them. And not to put down anyone, there were great founders who were solving a similar set of problems from a different network, but it required them a step or two more to get to those conversations, right? From that direction, I felt that if I did an MBA, life would open a lot more doors easier for me if I were an entrepreneur. Just being able to reach out to global mentors, being able to reach out to global investors in any problem that I'd want to solve, I felt would become much easier if I were to gain a network through an MBA. And that comes from you also adding a lot of value to your peer group, right? You give and take. So first and foremost was that I think my lens in terms of just seeing, okay, I do have this thought of becoming an entrepreneur in the future. How is an MBA going to help me? And this was very clear. Next, I while I was working on my idea, just reaching out to people outside of my core community within IIT Madras opened up my perspective a lot. I think the way of thinking of people is molded obviously by their experience, and just people graduating from different places or having gone through a different set of experiences makes you are blindsided to a few set of perspectives. So just having being able to talk to such mentors and getting that advice from them uh, helps you take the right steps as an entrepreneur. And I think the only job as an entrepreneur that you have is that will help you have a differential in success is you being able to take the right decisions. And to take the right set of decisions, you need to hear different perspectives, you need to understand them in depth, and then take a decision based on what your intuition says. And that is what we're going to get through an MBA, right? A global MBA is where you have people coming from all throughout the world with diverse set of perspectives who've been expertised in multiple domains. And I just knew that being amongst these people for 2 years and discussing the problems that interest me, that I would want to solve in the future in great detail, would help me get much closer to finding a solution or even the direction of a solution to the problems that I would want to solve for it. These were the two main principles that I had. And obviously, I think the resources that an MBA offers, just being able to take a step back from corporate. Um, some people might have the luxury to be able to step back from their jobs and start afresh and start thinking about the problem statement that they'd want to solve. Some people might need that environment or a certain push. And I felt like an MBA or the schools that I was looking for, again, I think to answer the second part of your question, which school had the right set of resources to encourage a collaboration in the space that I would want to work for, in the space of entrepreneurship that I'd want to work for. And just going back to a previous question that I answered, again, it's not about selecting 8 schools and or like 15 schools and getting into one, but you could also pick the 3 best schools that suit you and just get into it, right? Um, it might not be the case that you find your co-founder in the 3 best schools according to some ranking on a list, but it could be that you find your co-founder in a school that matches your internal priorities, right? And that is how you should go about it, right? So once you're clear with that on what it is that you want to do later and how it is that you see this is going to unfold within college, it just becomes easier to select the right set of colleges, right? Yeah, so this is the piece of advice I'd give to entrepreneurs. Just like be very clear on why you're doing an MBA. See what is it that the school has to offer in terms of the gaps that you feel you have to where you want to go to become an entrepreneur. And that will it'll become very easier for you to pick the right set of schools.